Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Elizivlog. I hope you're having a great day. We're going to talk about something that I see all communities go through. It's like the community life cycle. I'm going to call this video something like cash, cliques, communities, because that's what it comes down to. Those things, they drive all of this. So communities, they're made up of people. I know, it's definitional, right? And one thing people all love to do is associate with other people at some level. So you form close friendships, maybe you form partnerships, like you're bike riding buddies with somebody and you always go bike riding all the time. You make acquaintances with other people. Then there's that one dude that shows up like once a week and complains about something. Like, you understand who these people are, you form a relationship of some kind with them. We all love, at some level, talking to other people. Whether that's like, oh, hey, man, let's go out and have a drink or something. Or if it's like, oh, let me just fire off this text message or let me type on Twitter. Whatever it is. At some level, you like interacting with other people. You like socializing. Inevitably, socialization, meeting with other people, it leads to friction. And it leads to disagreement. So now where you've had like maybe a relationship, they butt heads. So people break up. So you got like one close-knit group of people over here. They form a little clique. And maybe that guy that got ejected from the group, he forms his own little clique, or he joins a clique. So within a community, you now have multiple little groups of people forming their own sub-communities within that community. And those little groups, those cliques, they'll all fight for power. They'll fight for influence. Everybody wants to be the dominant voice. Everybody wants to be number one. Everybody wants to be on top. And then once money comes into this equation, and it always does, it inevitably does, things get worse. Boy. So power will get you influence. Influence will get you power too, but they're very symbiotic, especially in this picture. They're kind of the same thing. And then they, in turn, get you money. And money, they say, the love of money is the root of all evil. Make sure you get that right. Money itself is not evil. Money is an object. It can't be evil. But the love of it, greed, can be. And so once that money gets in there, once you can get that money, once you can take, hey, we're going to talk about this thing and start getting money from it. What was once a free and open community that welcomed everybody in, come on in. We want to know what you think about this thing. We want to talk about this thing. We want to have a great conversation with you. It turns into infighting. Hey, that guy said a mean thing to me. Turns to recriminations. Hey, he did this bad thing. And so now, where before we were talking about thing X, we're starting to talk about each other some. We're starting to exclude people from the discussion. Oh, I don't want to talk to him. He said something mean about me. I don't want to have anything to do with him. And that's normal. Why would you associate with somebody that says something bad about you? But there's always an in-group. And there's always an out-group. So the in-group's over here. They talk to each other. They get on each other's videos. They write articles about each other. They network. They do all sorts of things to make sure that their group gets stronger. And they're always aiming their barbs at the out-group. And the out-group's over here. And the out-group may be another clique. It may be people outside the community entirely. But as soon as the out-group stops responding to what they're doing, they have to get a new one. They have to find a new enemy, a new person that they can fight. Even if they have to manufacture that enemy, even if they have to kick somebody out from the community, make a pariah, they got to have it. Because that's how they're getting influence. That's what they're talking about. External pressures can accelerate this process. For example, if YouTube changes its terms of service or changes the kinds of things you can talk about on a stream or a video, well, now you're changing the behavior of the group. So let's say, for example, you had a group that was built around criticizing and evaluating products. Essentially a Consumer Reports group. I don't know if Consumer Reports even still exists, but I remember they used to be pretty influential. Everybody would quote like, oh, this is the Consumer Reports #1 whatever, if they had that in their commercials. So now before, the group talked about, products. And maybe they still talk about products, but they've changed how they talk about them because they can no longer say, this product is bad, because that's no longer supported by the terms of service, or that's no longer like ad friendly, because YouTube wants to sell ads selling that product. And now the video is saying that product's no good. So YouTube's like, we're not selling ads on your video. And now, I'm losing my money. So now the community, instead of saying this thing is bad, maybe the community goes, this thing is okay. So now the community is making a mockery of itself. The community is no longer doing what it was founded on. It's doing, in fact, the opposite of what it was founded on. And it was all driven by pressures from money because they want to get that money. There's nothing wrong with wanting to get money. But when you lose your integrity, when you lose who you are because of it, that becomes the problem. One thing that's always safe is interpersonal drama, network effects. You can say, hey, this person said this mean thing about me. And you know what happens? You get a bunch of people clicking like. Oh, man. This person did this bad thing. Oh, man, let me click that like button. Let me click that like button. So now, what was once a community built around evaluating products becomes a community built around the interpersonal drama of the people who evaluate products. It becomes a soap opera in effect. And I like a good soap opera. They're fun to watch, but you've twisted the community so much, it's no longer what it started out as. Its goal is no longer there. The thing that glued it together is no longer there. And as somebody sitting on the outside, when I see this kind of thing, it's arcane. To understand what's going on, you have to know like 3 or 4 years worth of interactions between all these people to get it, to understand it. It's like jumping into the middle of a TV show that you have no idea what's going on. You're not going to get most of what's going on because you don't have the context to put it in. And thus it starts looking ridiculous too. This person said this mean thing about me, so I'm going to go on and do a 6-hour stream about it. Really? A 6-hour stream. You're going to go on and talk about this person for hours and hours because they hit like on a tweet? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And this is the cycle that most communities go through. It doesn't matter what the community started out as. It doesn't matter how tight-knit it was. Eventually, the community will get to this point. It becomes a parody of its former self. It loses the script. And that's not cool. That's not cool at all. But it is what it is. And recognizing when this stuff is happening, when the community is starting to not be the community that it used to be, when you get to that point, that's when you get off. You got to get out of there. You can't just keep hanging around because it'll drag you down with it. And the people that are still in it, there's no reason to be mad at them. They're caught up in the moment. They found a community. It gives them a sense of belonging, a sense of who they are. So there's nothing wrong with it. They just haven't recognized what's happening yet. Or maybe they're afraid that once they become part of the out group, the community will be aiming the drama at them. Either way, it's no good. But that's what happens. When cliques start forming and the community starts breaking up into subgroups, when money starts entering the equation, starts driving that, when outside social pressures push in on the community and the community responds, not by pushing just back against the outside pressures, because maybe you can't, so the community has to adapt to them, the community starts becoming different from what it was originally. And that's always a shame. So many good communities out there. People that, I know that were fun, that were cool to hang out with. They get damaged by this kind of thing. They withdraw from it. They disengage. And they don't want to talk to people that they used to know. It's a bummer, man. It's absolutely a bummer. And I've seen so many communities over the years go through this. I've been part of so many communities over the years that have been through this. Like, let's just be honest. Sometimes I've been the drama instigator and I've done some of these things. And for that, I apologize. But, it's like 15 years too late. It's not going to do anybody good for me to apologize about it. And I just look around today and there's several communities I'm like tangentially related to that I'm a little bit involved with. And I see these same things happening. They've been happening over the last couple of years since I tried to branch out and start interacting with people that were outside of my local group, since I've started trying to reach out and form relationships outside of my comfort zone. I've seen how these things have evolved. I've seen how people who shouldn't be fighting suddenly start fighting because it gets them clicks. It's a bummer. Now I'm getting too personal, and I don't want to get too personal. You all, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed the super dramatic lighting from outside, man. One side of my face all lit. Oh. Bye-bye.